quick question. Does anybody know where the famous saying, כל המתפלל על חברו נהנה תחילה comes from? What does the saying mean? A person who prays for his brother, כל המתפלל על חברו, a person who prays for his fellow Jew, for another, or actually, I take that back. Everybody who prays for somebody else, על חברו, his friend, נהנה תחילה. He is answered first. There's another midrash that says the words are slightly different. כל המתפלל על חברו וצריך לאותו דבר, a person who prays for his friend and he needs that same salvation, נהנה תחילה. He is answered first. So what is the source for this? Anybody? The couples, Rivka and Yitzhak?
Yeah,
You're saying from...
It says, they were praying for each other, no?
Vayater Hashem lo velo la. He answered him and not her. So you're saying he prayed for her? Because it says he looked at her. Okay, there's one before that. Even if that is the source, I'm not sure. But there's one prior to that, and it's in this week's parasha. It's a blunt clue. It's Rashi. Rashi is Pshat Torah. Now with Hagar. Why Hagar? Why?
This week's version?
No, that's this week's version.
Is this week?
Yeah. V'Hashem pakad et tzara is this week. But what comes right before V'Hashem pakad et tzara? Who knows? Anybody? Louis, come on, you're baki in the Torah. The term Kol HaMitpalel Al Havero Neina Techila. Okay, so I gave a good clue. The one who was answered was Avraham and Sarah, Avotenu HaKadoshim. Avraham and Sarah were answered. V'Hashem pakad et tzara. In the beginning of the 21st chapter. What happened right before? That was their merit, according to Rashi. That's the reason they merited having kids, was because they prayed for somebody else. Avimelech, Chazak Baruch, beautiful. Give him a. Do you have any croissants over there? Give him a croissant, please. Avraham, by the way, we missed you. We missed you very much. Isaac, give him a croissant, please. Avraham. Avimelech was the king of the Palestinians, of the Palestine.
Where did he have that name,
Avimelech, right? And actually, right after Avraham does a huge feast, B'yom Higamel Yitzhak, and there's a big machloket what that day was. Either he was 8 days old, just Sudat Brit Milah, or he was at the 2-year-old. He was 2 years old. He stopped nursing, or he was 13. He was bar mitzvah. And regardless, he did a huge feast and he invited all of Suda Gadol. Rashi writes, he invited Gdolei Olam, the greatest people in the world. One of the people he invited was Avimelech. He did a treaty with him in this week's parasha. You have to learn to see what's going on here. But anyways, he prayed for Avimelech. What happened to Avimelech? So Avimelech took Sarah, just like Paro did. Second time she's taken captive. According to many Rishonim, this is actually one of the 10 nisyonot of Avraham Avinu as well. And when he takes him captive. Hashem plagued him, afflicted him greatly. He says, why'd you tell me that she's your sister? I wouldn't have touched her. Avraham Avinu says, yeah, I heard that story already from someone else like you. And if I would have told you that she's my sister, then amati ki en yirat elokim b'makom hazeh. When there's no yirat shamayim, then there's no rules. There's no law system and nothing. It's a free-for-all. You do whatever you want, whenever you want, and no one can stop you, especially you're the king. So don't ask me why. He tells him this. He says, because I said there's no fear of God in this place, and that's why I told you that. After God had to speak to him one-on-one and told him, listen, don't mess with them, be careful. And then he tells him, וَيِكَשَّרْ هِتْאُו אותי אלוהים מבית אבי ואמר לה זה חסדך אשר תעשי עמדי. So he says, sorry, the next pasuk. Here it is. ויאמר אבימלך, הנה ארצי לפניך, I'm giving you here, my whole land is yours, do whatever you want. בטוב בעיניך שב. You could sit in the wealthiest places, the greatest land, it's all yours. ושרה אמר, and to Sarah, הנה נתתי 1,000 כסף לאחיך, I'm going to give him $1,000, a lot of money. הנה הוא לך כסות עיניים לכל אשר איתך, whatever you need, clothing, ואת כל ונוכחת. I'll give you the best splendors and spoils of whatever it is that we have. I'll give you wealth, gold, silver, diamonds. Vayitpalel Avraham el Elohim. Avraham prays to God. Vayirpa Elohim et Avimelech. He was sick. He healed him. Vet ishto ve'amotav vayeledu. His wife and his maidservants, and they were able to give birth. What does that even mean? The Torah didn't say that they weren't able to not give birth. So Rashi is bothered by that question. And he says, Niftechu nikevehem ve'otziu. What does that mean? They couldn't even go to the restroom.
Wow.
No, not number one, not number two. Who said taking water away was bad? This, not only water, Hashem literally didn't allow them to use the restroom. That's how He afflicted them. And what happened? They couldn't use the restroom, not number one, not number two, and they also could not give birth. And what happened? The pasuk says, Vayeledu. They were able to now give birth.
Doesn't that go against the whole value of he prayed first? He prayed for
Yeah.
So,
For refuah. And specifically, Vayeledu, to be able to give birth.
so why?
He needed that also.
Why didn't it say that Abraham got it first? Abraham and Sarah got it first.
Oh, you asked a good question.
Wait, Avimelech needed.
You're asking a great question. It could be, I think,
Maybe that's what he said about that right there.
but no, because it says she gave birth right away. And the truth is, it says that at the big Suda, you're asking a great question. You guys got Koby's question?
Yeah.
Chazal say, and I never noticed that, Hazak Baruch. And now I understood the pshat just because of you. Beautiful. I'll explain now. He's asking an incredible question. Kol hamitpaleh havero, a person who prays for his friend, he's answered first. What's the proof? Avraham Avinu. Hazak Baruch. But Avimelech, it says in the pasuk, Vayeledu. They were able to give birth. So seemingly they were answered first, not Avraham. So the first portion is, you say, someone who prays for his friend, he gets it. Yeah. What's that? Oh, very good. Beautiful.
What does that means? There's no first and there's no last. There's not necessarily a sequential order in the type stories.
So the truth is, I'm not going to use that one. I like that one though, but I'm going to prove what you just said. I'm going to prove what you said is correct. Because the next pasuk is V'Hashem pakad et Sarah, and what happened? And she gave birth. It's talking about the birth, not the pregnancy. So she conceived already prior. She conceived prior. First of all, and Rashi says, when it says Vayeledu, it says Niftechu nekevehem liled. It doesn't say they gave birth on that day. Their vows were open to be able to give birth. Doesn't mean that it happened immediately. So the swap opened. It opened and they were able to.
So Salah actually gave birth first.
I think she gave birth first. And the proof is, in the Suda that they did, Avraham Avinu did, in Pasuk Chet, it says, Vayigdal hayeled vayigamal vayasava mishte gadol b'yom yigamer et Yitzchak. The pshat, according to Rashi, is when he was 2 years old, he stopped nursing. Sarah Imenu came and nursed all of the people in the world. Why? Because everybody said, oh, look, she got pregnant. You know why? Rashi writes that literally the next parasha, the next pasuk, not even parasha, next pasuk is that Ishmael started laughing. So the simple pshat is what he was laughing, according to the Ramban. He made fun and he said, this is not Avraham Avinu's kid. This is for sure from Avimelech. Avimelech was with her. She was pregnant from him. So you see that literally the birth was a little bit after. The pregnancy she already conceived prior. So I think that's the pshat. But one big message, we'll end with this, that we could take away from here, is that a person, many times I'm saying this to myself, we are very selfish when it comes to prayer. When we pray, we tend to pray our entire Shema Yisrael, we dedicate to ourselves. I pray for Parnasah, myself. I pray for Chokhmah. Hashem, let me finish Shas. I want to be Baki in Shas. I want to know Halacha. I want to know this. And a lot of times I'm saying about myself, I'm very selfish when it comes to Tefillah. And especially in times like this, our hearts should be bleeding. And we go on with our day. We have to. I'm not saying to be depressed. It's not what I'm coming to say. But we should, throughout our day, and we all do feel it, regardless if I say this or not, we all feel heartbroken. But we have to really dedicate a very good portion of our tefillot to Am Yisrael. Really. Throughout tefillah. When you say Hashkivenu, such a beautiful tefillah. Unfortunately, yesterday, we all heard tragic news that 13 Israeli soldiers in Gaza in a tank, all one pluga. Amazing young boys, 19, 20-year-old boys. That means that those who are married, Hashem Yachem, young families, not even fathers, their parents, the mother, the father, they're heartbroken, they're devastated. I'm heartbroken, honestly, just when I think about it. You cry. You have to cry. If you know, we all have a heart. It's our brothers, And we have to really dedicate our tefillot to really think of what's going on in Eretz Yisrael. It's crazy. It's mamash crazy. And as the days go on, and every day that goes on, things become more tough. First of all, it becomes tougher because we get more used to the matzav, to what's going on. So therefore our prayers get desensitized and our feelings are desensitized. And second is that the longer the war goes on, the harder it is, because that means literally 600,000 families don't have their dads taking care of the kids. There's no carpool. Many schools are closed, and some schools that don't have bomb shelters, they're closed. That means that it's summertime. It's not summer, but it's as if summertime at home. The mom has the suffering that the husband's not home, and the problem is that her husband or her dad or her brother is going to do the same thing. Her sister is going to do the same thing. Whole neighborhoods, literally. The kids don't have parents that are there with them. And let alone the ones that lost. Hashem Yachim. Forget about what happened then, but even now, actively, people are going through very, very difficult things. And we have to really dedicate our tefillot to Am Yisrael. In Shmona Yisrael, in your own prayer, when you're eating, when you're sleeping, when you're walking, when you're at work. Any mizmor, you know mizmor by heart. And one last thing to conclude, 10 seconds. I would highly suggest praying in your own words. Because when you close your eyes and you think for 1 second, just try to picture what one family is going through, really. How heartbroken they are. And pray to Hashem. Hashem, look, your kids are suffering. Please. That's it. We learned the lesson. That's it. Whatever it is, we're going to change. We're going to be better. We love Am Yisrael. Please, Borei have mercy on Am Yisrael. So we should all have the zchut to really take things to heart. There's a mitzvah aseh deoraita to pray now in Shat Sarah. According to Ramban, all of the Rishonim. It's a machloket if tefillah is deoraita. But b'Shat Sarah, in times of affliction and tragedy, everyone agrees it's a pasuk b'furash in the Torah that you have to blow trumpets and go to war. And if you're not capable of going to war, you have to do selichot. And many Batei Knesset are doing that. Every night in every city in Israel, there's selichot. It's Elul now. Not Elul. It's Ne'ilah Yom HaKippurim in every synagogue. And we're here and we don't do that, but maybe we should. But we should all do whatever we are capable of doing. And at least give our hearts to our brothers in Eretz Yisrael and show ourselves and Kadosh Baruch Hu that really we're hurting and we're brokenhearted for them. And Borei Olam should have mercy and endless rachamim b'ezrat Hashem.